Taylor Frankie Paul had everything. $1 million TikTok empire. A hit Hulu show. A Bachelorette season that was supposed to launch her into a completely different stratosphere. And in the span of 3 years, she watched all of it collapse. Not from the outside. From her own hands. Today, I want to break down exactly how one of the most watched women on the internet went from founding a cultural movement to felony charges, a canceled TV show, and a custody battle playing out in real time. Let's get into it. You need to understand what Taylor Frankie Paul built before you can understand what she lost. In 2020, she and a group of women in Salt Lake City started making TikToks about their lives as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Motherhood, faith, dancing, mundane, relatable moments from everyday life. They called it Mom Talk, and it exploded. By 2022, Taylor was the undisputed center of it, the loudest voice, the most followed account, the one the cameras always found first. Hulu came calling. A full reality show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, was greenlit. She was building something real. But the truth nobody really talks about is that behind the carefully curated content, something was already unraveling. Here's where it begins. May 2022. Taylor goes on TikTok Live and blows up her own life. She announces her divorce from her husband, Tate Paul. And then, in the same breath, she reveals that she and Tate had been part of a soft, swinging arrangement with other members of Mom Talk. An open relationship group operating quietly inside this very public, very faith-based community. The internet lost its mind. Mom Talk, the wholesome Mormon mom content empire, hiding a secret social arrangement the whole time. For most influencers, that's career-ending. For Taylor Frankie Paul, it became the hook that launched a Hulu series. Season 1 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives debuted September 2024 and became one of Hulu's most watched reality shows of the year. The scandal didn't destroy her. It made her famous. But while the cameras were rolling, something far more serious was already happening off-screen. February 17, 2023. Taylor Frankie Paul is arrested. Harriman police respond to a domestic disturbance involving Taylor and her new boyfriend, Dakota Mortensen. What they find at the scene is disturbing. According to the police report, Taylor threw metal bar stools at Dakota during the altercation. One of those chairs struck her own 5-year-old daughter, Indy, in the head, leaving a painful lump that her ex-husband Tate said was too small to photograph because of the child's hair. Dakota Mortensen was observed with redness and swelling around his eyes, swelling on his elbow, scratches on his fingers, and a laceration on his neck. Hulu immediately paused filming on the show. Taylor was charged with assault, criminal mischief, and commission of domestic violence in the presence of a child. By August 2023, she entered a plea in abeyance, a third-degree felony count of aggravated assault. The agreement would allow the charges to be reduced after 3 years if she met the terms. And here's what makes this so difficult to watch. She didn't walk away from Dakota after that night. She stayed. This is the part of the story that nobody really talks about because it's uncomfortable. Taylor and Dakota broke up. Got back together. Had a son, Ever, born March 2024. Broke up again. Kept circling each other in a cycle that played out publicly on social media in front of millions of people who were watching their every move. Dakota Mortensen broke his silence and accused Taylor of a pattern of physical violence going back years. Scratching, shoving, striking. Incidents in February 2026 that triggered a second investigation. But Taylor's team fired back, claiming Dakota had been emotionally abusive and that she was the one who needed protection. In April 2026, Taylor Frankie Paul filed a restraining order against Dakota Mortensen. Dakota had already filed one against her. Her ex-husband Tate Paul filed one too. 2 restraining orders. A co-parenting battle. A felony plea still on her record. And in the middle of all of it, ABC announced she was going to be the next Bachelorette. This is where the story takes its most jaw-dropping turn. ABC had cast Taylor Frankie Paul as the lead of The Bachelorette. The promo campaign had started. The premiere date was set, March 22, 2026. 3 days before it was supposed to air, ABC pulled the season entirely. The domestic violence investigation had become too public, too detailed, too documented for a major network to ignore. Filming on Season 5 of Mormon Wives was paused at the same time. In 2 weeks, she went from the face of one of television's hottest franchises to unemployed, under investigation, and trending for all the wrong reasons. And then, this week, the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office announced it would not be filing charges against Taylor in connection with the 2026 incidents. No charges. But the damage was already done. Let me zoom out. Because this isn't just a reality TV drama. This is something more complicated than that. Taylor Frankie Paul built something genuinely remarkable out of nothing. Mom Talk was real. The community was real. The audience who saw themselves in her was real. But somewhere between the viral moments and the Hulu deals and the boyfriend and the broken plea agreements, she lost the thread. And the people closest to her paid the price. Dakota Mortensen is not a villain in this story. Neither, perhaps, is Taylor. What this story actually is a portrait of two people who brought out the worst in each other, played it out in front of millions, and are now trying to co-parent a 2-year-old son named Ever in the wreckage. The Bachelorette is canceled. The show is paused. The restraining orders are filed. And somewhere in Salt Lake City, a little boy named Ever will one day Google his parents' names. That's the real ending to this story. And it's not a happy one. If this breakdown hit different, subscribe. We cover the stories behind the headlines every single week. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.